Welcome to the SportsCage. If you are in Saskatchewan and listening to this program, how's that weather for you again? Mike, what is going on? I had to drive back, obviously, from Yorkton today. Keep us updated if we should pass on anything on the roads throughout this program, because there were cars in the ditch and it was just starting to get greasy out there. So it is what it is. Classic line in Sasky. It's for Access Communications on Thursday. We're here for 3 hours talking athletics. We're going to talk a number of other things as well. Backyard putting green company or giveaways coming up. Get the code word for that. Colson's with me, but we have guests. A lot of our guests are going to join us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza, obviously, look outside. You're not barbecuing tonight. Maybe pick up a pie or some Greek favorites and watch some hockey. We are going to talk to Tommy Stevens live in studio in about 3 minutes, less than that time. So Tommy's in. Arash Madani's in an hour two. Benny Walchuk, SJHL report. Glen Suitor. Also an hour two, Rich Sutter. Yeah, from the Sutter brothers. He's going to come in and talk about hockey helping the homeless this weekend. So, it's always exciting when you get to talk to a Sutter brother. Now, I'm trying to prep questions that he hasn't answered 100 times. Because when you're a Sutter brother, you got to answer a lot. He had a twin. And there's twins in the WHL doing crazy things this year. So that's, I think, where we're going to go. It'll be a fun program. You're welcome to participate. Maybe you got a question for Tommy Stevens. It is the Prairieland Rentals text line. Prairieland Rentals, I don't know. If you go there today, you could need a snowblower or getting ready for the lawn treatment. 600 Albert Street. You get to deal with the owner. The number is 936-6262. 306-936-6262. The Prairieland Rentals text line. All right, we won't keep him waiting. He's in studio on NFL Draft Day. He probably wants to get home and check that out. Tommy Stevens. Well, I don't know. We've talked like 3-4 times on the show. It's great to have you in the bunker here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's nice and cozy in here. I prefer this.
Yeah. So you were just down back home in Indianapolis. Yep. We were just talking off camera. You drove and got back. How many hours is that?
So we did it. I can't remember how fast. We were definitely faster on the way down. So we took a little bit more time. We were there for a wedding, so we took our time coming back. So my sister got married this past weekend. It was blast seeing everybody. But yeah, it took us, I think, went from Indianapolis to Fargo, about 15 hours.
Wow.
Because we got the dogs too. So me and girlfriend, 2 dogs. Yeah. So yeah, 15 hours the first day. I think 9 to finish the trip the second day. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
If you're ever considering driving to Indianapolis or driving from Indianapolis, fly. Just fly.
Let's get the air miles going here.
Just fly. Don't care what the price is. Fly.
Speaking of traveling, it's been a fun, I'm sure, off season for you, rewarding the experience and all that. Being a part of the foundation and as a first-year player ambassador, just your experiences, going out and visiting around the province. How has that been this year?
It was awesome. Incredibly thankful for the foundation giving me the opportunity to give back. I had some similar situations, I would say, when I was growing up, of people showing up in my school, and I remember thinking at a very early age, like, man, I would love to be a pro football player, but I would also love to give back to the community one day. And so, anytime I ever get a chance to do that, I definitely try to be involved. And it's not like this everywhere. I can speak firsthand on that. It's the way that we do things, the organization, and just everything top to bottom. It feels like pro football here, and so it's very cool.
What, maybe throughout the experiences, is there something you can share with us, a story that was kind of cool in your travels this year? Yeah,
it's I've never, this is pretty good. So me and Brett were driving back from Saskatoon one night, and being from Indianapolis, sure, we get snow. I've lived in Pennsylvania before, so I've dealt with weather, I would say, but not really to this degree. And so we were driving back, and Brett was calm, cool, collected. He's like, look, man, we'll be fine. We're gonna be just fine. We're about to get crushed by a snowstorm. And so I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm looking at the radar. It looks brutal. I don't know if we're gonna make this. He's like, no, we'll be all right. So we get in the car or the truck, drive back, and they they just say that you can't drive on the freeway anymore, or the
highway.
The highway.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we're closing the highway. And I had never heard of such a thing. I didn't know that this was a possibility. And so I was like, well, what do we do? And he's like, well, I guess we're just gonna have to pull over here. And luckily there was somebody that he knew, and we just crashed in their basement for that night. And this was like my first weekend with the foundation too. So that was. Yeah.
So some. Do you remember that? Like, was it a town between?
I don't remember the town.
You were outside of Saskatoon already.
So we were coming back to Regina.
Outside of Saskatoon.
Yeah.
So there's Kenniston, there's Davidson.
We were about 30 minutes away from Regina, so we were close.
Maybe. Oh,
yes, that's
Bethune.
it. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, great town.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was perfect. So
Yeah.
it was. I mean, there was so much snow on the ground. It was just it was blowing everywhere, right? And so I couldn't see, like, we're driving out of the dash and the snow's blowing around so much, like it didn't look. I know that we're moving, but the truck, it doesn't look like we're moving. I was like, yeah, Brett, we gotta stop.
Probably a cold case of Pilsner in the basement for you guys and some blankets. And I've slept in Bethune a few nights, so that's great. And then just like the kids too, right? It must be so cool, because you mentioned how you had that experience as a kid, but just to see these, like, the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Grey Cup champs, and you're a big dude too as well. So the look on the kids must be so rewarding for you.
It's awesome, man. It's super rewarding. You step in and you can help influence somebody's day, right? And just by stepping into the building, you see their eyes light up, and they're kind of start the day like slouched over in the chair. You get introduced, and next thing you know, they're kind of sitting up and wanting to pay more attention. And it's really cool, like I said, having the opportunity to give back and hopefully help somebody's day.
Yeah, and I think it was really cool how you say how the Riders are doing it and how the foundation does it here. It's not like that everywhere, right? And of course the following the following the team has helps as well. How far north did you go? Did you do any of the way north?
Not the way north. Okay. So we got up to Battlefort.
Battlefords, yeah.
Yeah. So that was about as far north as we went, or that I went rather. I believe so. So I think I did 2 or 3 like week-long trips.
Oh wow!
So you're gone for most of the week, but it was really cool. You can just tell, man. It just like people wear it on their face, and and they love the Riders, man.
Yeah.
They love the Riders, and it's awesome to represent.
Pigskins and punchlines coming up, and you're involved in this. What are you doing are you a comedian? Are you a judge? Or what are you doing?
No, I definitely won't be the comedian. It would not be a good idea, I don't think, to bring me up on stage. I believe I would be a part of the player panel, that maybe question and answer and just interacting with people that are coming to the event. Really, really cool opportunity. Especially as we get closer to the season, people are getting excited. So. Really looking forward to that.
It's coming up Saturday, May 2nd at the Regina Performing Arts Center. Looks like it's 80% sold out already. Nate, you're here as well. You're nodding along. 80% sold out. Tables are sold out?
Tables are sold out.
So the bleachers, though. And it's great. That Performing Arts, that's a great venue to have this. Big Daddy Taz is going to be the comedian. Like Coach Mace, is he getting any jokes prepared? Do we know? We'll
see. Last time he was there, it was great. So he was
yeah.
Give that guy the mic. He'll be just fine, I believe.
Really? Yeah. Like even in that kind of setting, because I'm sure amongst the fellas and in the rooms and all that, he'd be pretty fun. But you think he can? Because stand-up comedy too, like 10 minutes would feel like an eternity to most people. Kind of like this. It's like 3 hours. It's like, you ever done a speech at a wedding? Well, that's like 10 minutes. Like, you got to kill. So be doing the comedian thing. I know people that have tried it, and you're up there on an island, and it wouldn't, because you're a public speaker, you do a good job as well, but for some it's nerve-wracking.
Oh, very. I remember like the first couple classes that I took at Penn State, like just getting in front of the classroom and talking. There's no real, at least from my perspective, I had never been trained on how to public speak. I always got in trouble growing up. I wouldn't stop talking, right? And so we're learning about that, but like for Coach Mace, I don't think I've ever seen him uncomfortable in any situation, so I feel like he'd be just fine.
Yeah. It's, again, tickets available. Best place, Nate?
Riderville.com/. Punchlines.
Riderville.com/punchline. So 80% sold out. Going to be a great night, May 2nd at the Regina Performing Arts Center. And it's the Win with Wellness program is the real winner in this. Can we talk some football quickly? Off-season training this year for you. What did you change?
Well, I had to change the time that I was, I guess as far as like consistency every day, like, in years past, I would have like a very structured routine, I would say. This year, being with all the travel and I kind of had to do some things that were just out of the ordinary. You're going to gyms that you aren't used to in different towns and, just trying to find a way to continue to get better and grow and evolve. And as you get older, it gets harder to really.
You wait. You're still young.
Change.
You wait.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I've really, I guess, recently started to feel the effects of maybe getting a little bit older. Mm-hmm. I can't complain too much with maybe one of the guys that may be in our room. So I definitely got to continue to be the one of the younger guys. Well, shoot, I guess I'm probably the second oldest now. So I guess it doesn't even count. But yeah.
When do you actually start kind of throwing?
I took an entire month off, just because I was still banged up from the season. I came back just because I was pretty much allowed to. I wouldn't have been back that early if it was not the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
So took a month off, tried to heal and really just detox a little bit from football and just kind of just get back to everyday life. It was such an all-time season for me, and just the memories that were made there. It was very emotional, I would say. And so being able to kind of just take some time to reflect on that, and it was great. So it took about a month, and then kind of started to ease my way into weights. I would say about the 1.5 mark, I would say.
Yeah.
And then probably about 2 months in was when I started throwing again.
Do you talk to T-Mobile? Do you talk to Trevor Harris much in the off season?
Yeah, a decent amount. Yep.
Yeah.
We stay in touch.
You guys hey, I found this. What do you think about that? Any kind of scheming or any kind of game planning? And
I think Trevor is always doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Trevor is ever without his iPad, and so he's constantly just ideas are just constantly hitting his head, and so he'll just text us randomly, hey, how do you guys feel about this? And I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where you would like that, and then we would introduce it in maybe some of our like off season meetings or whatever. And he's been a guy that has been super impactful just with this offense, and credit Mark Mueller too for allowing Trevor, and he's definitely earned the right to do this, but like allowing Trevor to present ideas
for sure.
Just because this is, at least in the CFL, this is the only offense I've ever played in, right? And so we ran the same stuff in Calgary, and there wasn't a lot of I guess suggestions taken in years past. So Trevor's definitely earned the right, and it's obviously always good when you suggest something and it works. Mm-hmm. So it's been nice.
I had him about a month ago. He was at the farm show. He came by and interviewed him, and he's wearing a T-shirt. And I said, was this like, when before the rock star goes up on, did you go like do 50 sets of 50 quick and get your swole on? Because I'm like, look at this. And then Don Hewitt was with me, and I'm like, jacked. And then he kind of went in. He does a lot of that like TB12, which makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To his age and how he looks and all that. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, adds up.
Yeah, definitely very detailed with everything that he does. And as to be expected, I would say anybody that brings the approach of, the way that Trevor goes about his business and what he brings to our team, it would be expected. But I still don't think that people realize how much goes into his everyday prep. He's truly the first guy that I've ever been around that's really taught me how to be a pro quarterback, I would say. And I've been lucky. I've spent some time with some guys in the past, and I guess brief periods of time. I've already spent more time here than I have anywhere besides Calgary in my pro football career. So. It's been very fun being with Trevor, and just every quarterback room that I've ever been a part of, I've been very fortunate. I've been in good rooms, and so this is just as much fun as any of the other ones. Maybe the most fun room that I've ever been in last year. So
there's a lot of people up north. You were there traveling that are excited for this preseason game in Saskatoon, and it's been a long time coming. Like Saskatoon should host a preseason game, and it gets to happen. Hopefully, you're in there slinging it, but it's gonna feel so different, right? Because it's not the biggest venue, but it's going to be packed, and then there's going to be people standing. A lot like when you see high school games down south.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a pretty cool deal, I think, and it's been good. I've only spent 1 year there as far as doing the training camp deal, and I loved it. I loved Saskatoon. I've been there a few times since, and it's beautiful city. I enjoy going.
NFL draft tonight, 2020 was
2020.
To the Saints. You went, what was that experience like?
Man, it was pretty crazy. Whirlwind of emotions there. I'll tell you this: going into it, wasn't expecting to get drafted. Right? So
No.
My last year, I didn't have any starts at Penn State, so I grad transfer my last year, go to Mississippi State. I think I started 7 or 8 games. I was banged up a lot of the year. Had a shoulder, had a rib. Among other things, there were all kinds of issues. SEC football was brutal, so I had a lot of injuries and got to start, like I said, 7 or 8 games, and just didn't really have the body of work that most guys had, and so we get around like that 5th or 6th round, and I get a phone call, and I talked to a handful of teams, right, and I talked to the Saints once, talked to whoever. I basically talked to everybody just about one time. I talked to the Carolina Panthers almost every day,
really,
just because Joe Brady and I had a relationship dating back to Penn State. The original plan was I was going to be Taysom Hill in Carolina, right? And so come to find out, we agreed essentially on terms of hey, if I don't get drafted, I'm going to sign with the Panthers, which big no, can't do that. Didn't know this, but it's everybody pretty much does it to my understanding. So Sean Payton calls me in the 5th or 6th round. And mind you, I've never talked to Sean. When I did my meeting with him, so I didn't have his number saved. It was a Houston, Texas number, and I'm like, I didn't talk to the Texans, I didn't talk to the Cowboys. So I answered. He said, "Hey, it's Sean Payton. We want to bring you as an undrafted free agent." I'm like, "Hey, I appreciate it, but I'm going to Carolina." He's like, "All right." Well, hangs up and calls back.
This is about the 5th, 6th round, you said?
Yes, yeah. And so he calls me back and he's like, "Hey, they're going to give you however much money. Let's say $100,000. They're going to give you $100,000. We're going to give you $125 and guarantee you a spot on the practice squad." Again, completely illegal. Can't do this. And so they ended up getting in a little bit of trouble for it, but they did that. Carolina then matches it. I'm like, this is going fantastic. And then I get a call from a New Orleans area code. It's Mickey Loomis, the GM. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to merge the call with Coach." And he's like, "Hey, we were asking you to come to New Orleans. Now we're telling you we're going to trade back into the draft and take you." And I was like, I didn't know that you could do that. So then they drafted me. I got 1 quarterback meeting with Drew Brees, Taysom, Jameis, and then they moved me to tight end, a position I'd never played before. So. Yeah.
And they didn't even have a pick. They had to trade to get a pick.
They traded with the Houston Texans a futures pick the next year as a 6th round pick, I believe.
What a weird, and it happens in the CFL too, maybe a bit in hockey, but I think football, it's so weird. You go through that story and you're like, they jump through hoops.
Yeah. And
then there's, the kind of the backdoor things going on, and then all that, and then they get a pick, and then you get one meeting and then they move you to tight end. It's like, whoa. Weren't you guys big on me here?
Yeah.
What a business.
It would have honestly been better for me, looking back at it, it would have been better for me to not get drafted, go to Carolina, because, New Orleans cut me about halfway through the year, and I just went right to Carolina after that. And then I got to play in the last game of the year against, guess who? The Saints. So it was, my NFL career was very petty, I would say, between, Joe Brady and Sean Payton, but I still, I've talked back and forth with both of those guys. They, obviously were great to my career up there, and it was nuts.
We just watched a highlight a little bit ago. Fernando Mendoza throwing it off his back foot like Cal Ripken against Penn State.
Oh yeah.
Him, Vegas, and then Cousins in Vegas. I think it's going to be a good thing, but interesting how this is all working out.
Yeah, it's a match made in heaven, if you ask me. We were talking earlier. I don't know what the plan is for Hard Knocks, but they need to make sure that is in Vegas, because that's going to be must-see TV. At least for me, I want to see how those guys interact. And he's a really good player. We're sitting here watching the cut-ups from the Penn State game right now. Actually, I remember watching it pretty much all of that game, and that was maybe I don't want to say the worst, but that was the most that he got challenged.
That was a bad pick he just threw there.
Yeah. And so, Penn State was, they were a team that was, they had nothing to lose at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so they were playing very aggressive, and he made that huge throw there with 40 seconds left, down 4 to game them. It was, as a Penn State guy, I was like, man, that sucks, but what a moment. Like that was got to be the Heisman moment, right? Or I guess when he scored in the national championship was pretty sweet too. So, yeah.
Then the other thing, because when we had you on before, you were the transfer portal trailblazers, which Colson and I love that story. The first guys to ever do it. Now there's talk, and then the president of the United States was getting in on it on maybe only allowing one, or you only can transfer one, or all that. If it was a video game, let's say, do you think that's maybe a good thing to go just once, or do you keep it the way it is right now?
Personally, I do. I think that it's gotten a little crazy. I think college football in general has gotten crazy, so I do believe that more regulation is needed. But with that being said, like it's not really amateur football anymore, in my opinion. My little brother he's got 2 years left at Virginia Tech, so kind of going through that process with him in a way, and just trying to see the landscape of all. It's completely different, man. So I actually got to go back and. Like I said, we were in Indy, but I flew out so I drove to Indy, flew from Indy to Virginia, drove back with him after watching a practice. And I mean, everything about college football is just so much different now. We pull up into the parking lot and I'm just looking around. I'm like, dude, these cars are unbelievable. I mean, these guys are in college. You know what I mean? It's just like these guys are so rich, man. They're so rich.
Oh.
Yeah. They have no idea how good they got it.
Yeah, just why couldn't 15 years or however many years?
Yeah,
but then again, there was a lot of things going back that were better as well.
I probably wouldn't have ended up at Penn State if it would have been. Yeah. Just because I was only a 3-star guy, and I was not the first option for Penn State. Like I had to kind of ride the wave. Essentially, there was a domino effect of quarterbacks in my class. So the number one guy in the country was committed to Alabama, but he was a California guy, so he decommits from Bama, goes to USC. Bama goes and gets Notre Dame's guy. Then Notre Dame goes and gets Penn State's guy. Penn State got me. I was committed to Indiana. Indiana goes and gets NC State's guy. It was crazy. So,
have you ever heard? I'm sure this happens. Have you heard anyone close to you that went into the transfer portal and then no one wanted them?
I don't know anybody personally, but I do know that is a real possibility, and it's pretty scary, I would imagine. Just because if you're a guy that's on scholarship and you're trying to find a better opportunity, I understand that, but. Then I would assume, once you go into the portal, and this is every school was a little bit different when I was doing this, but when you'd go into the portal, you could finish the semester on scholarship, but that's it. You're cut off after that, and so that would be a hard decision to make if you were kind of on the fringe there, I would say.
Wow. What do you think Indy does? What do they need? What does Indy need?
The Colts?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really pay too much attention to the Colts. I've seen a lot of moves. They've lost. I believe they lost their nickel. They lost their will linebacker. So maybe something on defense. Lost a couple pass rushers too, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see what they do. They did commit to Daniel Jones, which I thought was the right move.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with them.
All right. So, yeah, that's if you want to join Tommy and the rest of the guys that are going to be at Pigskin and Punchlines, again, coming up Saturday, May 2nd, Regina Performing Arts Center is about 80% sold out right now, so tickets are available. Roughrider Foundation, and you can go, and it goes to the Win with Wellness program. Big Daddy Taz is headlining it, but Coach Mace and maybe we'll be the headliner there. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, appreciate you having me anytime.
Lots of fun. We'll go to break here. It's for Access Communications, the Sports Cage. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Well, Tommy Stevens in studio. That was a lot of fun. If you missed it, maybe we'll get snippets of it in hour 3. If not, it'll be podcast form. You'll be able to listen to it or watch it through sportscage.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. The Regina Pat Canadians, let's touch on that today at Nationals, taking on the Quebec representative that they kind of backdoored their way into the championships this year, played them in the final. Last year, the Pat C's lost in the preliminary round to the Levi Cavaliers. And today, in the preliminary round, Pat C's lost 6-5 in overtime. There was about a minute 30-ish left in overtime when they scored. Pat C's were up 5-2, 4-2. And, Quebec just wouldn't go away. There was some question. Well, The officiating at this tournament has been interesting. I think the Pat C's have killed off because the Cavaliers scored their tying goal on the power play, and I think at that point they'd killed off 27 of 30 penalties in the tournament so far. Penalty minutes today, 42 for the Regina Pat Canadians. I think there's a 10 banger in there, though. And Levi's Levy, only 16. Okay, that's a little bit off, but nonetheless, the Pat C's lose in overtime. As for the standings, they still lead. They are 3-0-0-1 with 10 points. Quebec is sitting with 8 points. Then it's Okanagan. Top 4 teams make it. Then Halifax, Peterborough are tied. Waterloo's bringing up the rear. So tomorrow's game with the Pat Canadians, they win. They're going to clinch first place. If they lose and Levy or Quebec wins and Quebec tomorrow plays Halifax. So, yeah, these games are going down. And then Saturday, it's the semifinals, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. And then Sunday, you got the bronze medal game, which after playing all that hockey, you want to play for the bronze medal? Come on, let's get on the plane, or the gold medal game is what we want. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So that'd be 4 o'clock our time. Again, I think there was, I was watching the game. Nathan Gardner didn't play much in the third, so I don't know if he was banged up. Malachi Martin got CFB checking from behind I think it was late in the first period. Eli Haru got a 10-minute misconduct. So yeah, it added up. It was the end of the first where Malachi got the boot. So they were short-staffed as well. As for points, Ethan Young had 3 assists. Riker Doka had a goal and 2 assists. Maddox Schultz had a goal and 3 assists. So yeah, little stat update there. Liam Pugh did have 1 goal. Grady Hodgins had a goal as well. And Ben Meyer was in net. So there's a recap of the Pat C's from today. Tonight in Yorkton, where we were last night. And first off, Colson, good job yesterday, keeping us on the air and all that. Curtis came, did a fantastic job in Yorkton. We were at Taps Sports Bar in Yorkton. And what a great time. And then it's like, okay, we got to get to the rink, and we walked across and some people, and the atmosphere was exactly what I was expecting. It was shoulder to shoulder. I know some people were like, oh, it looks like there's empty seats, but up top people were standing. It was jammed. The beer gardens, we were in the one for most of it because we kind of got a spot to watch there. That was an absolute riot. Everybody's so friendly. Everybody, and I'll say, I was really, really surprised how many Flin Flon fans made the trek. And then there was a bunch in the hotel this morning when I was checking out, obviously going tonight, hoping their team wraps it up. But yeah, Flin Flon travels really, really well. But as for the game, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, what was the 50-50 hat?
Oh, I took a picture. It wasn't the 60 that it was in Flin Flon. That was the pot was 36,510.
Still ain't bad.
No, Sharky and I were talking because we were going to go halfers. I bought a package. He bought a package. Okay, before we went, obviously we're splitting it. Let's not tell anybody if we win. But yeah, 36-5. As for the game, I will say Yorkton deserved better last night. Final score was 6-3. Yorkton, I think, deserved to win that game. There was the goal that they came out and they scored in the third, or was it the third or the second, where Flin Flon answered back like moments later. Yeah, it was in the second. They scored at 9:13, and Flin Flon comes right back like 50 seconds later, 45 seconds later, and scores. It was just the atmosphere. The people were great. Continental breakfast this morning though, 6 out of 10. I'm not to be like I need, for some reason, if you got a continental breakfast and they have salsa, 10 out of 10. I just love salsa on everything. But yeah, no, got a chance to chat with some fans from Flin Flon at breakfast. It was great. Tonight we're going to do the SJ report right now quickly, or do you want to go to break? Let's go to break, and then we'll come back. We'll talk. We'll bring in Benny Walchuk, who called the game last night. Maybe he's got a differing opinion than what I saw last night. We'll do that when we come back. Also going to give you the keyword for today to win that backyard putting green. We're giving it away May 1st, thanks to the Classic Landscape Company. We'll give you that when we come back. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Benny, I don't know if you had to do any driving today, but I left Yorkton. Things were good until just past Melville, and then it started getting greasy. I don't know if you've heard of how the highway is now.
A little bit of snowing here in Melville right now, so hopefully it's not too bad, but it looks like we might get the edge of it, so a little bit maybe travel conditions on the way there, but it's not too bad right now, so hopefully it stays like that.
It's interesting tonight because obviously there's, the 20 guys that are in that locker room for Yorkton that want to win and they want to take this thing back north, but so that's a lot of money, and you got to get up there and you got to do, and it's like, I thought last night, Benny, Yorkton deserved to win that game.
Yeah, they definitely had their chances for sure. And even talking to PL Simon, the assistant coach, after the game, it's discipline. It's, hey, you score that goal and make it 2-1. We have to come out and we have to be the hammer the next shift. And they didn't do that. They let Flin Flon kind of take the play once again. Maybe they got a little undisciplined with their penalties as well, and then give Flin Flon a power play. And then they were able to score a couple of goals. So I know listening to Mike Reagan on the coaches on their post-game show last night, they talked about weathering the storm at the start of the game, and he said, why do we have to weather the storm? Why don't we be the storm here in Game 3? And I thought they got off to a good start, getting that early goal in the opening minutes. And I thought they dictate the pace for the most part. Yeah, Yorkton had some chances for sure, and Charlie Tripp made some very good saves. And I thought Darius did a much better job offensively in Game 3 than they did the first two games. But it's a team, the Yorkton Terriers, maybe show up a little bit of emotion, have to get the fans into it a little bit more. And it's just a game. I know Flin Flon, they're on a roll right now. There's no question asked. They're playing very good hockey right now, and the Yorkton Terriers are going to have to be at their best 4 times in a row, maybe even 5 if they go into overtime here. So this is definitely a tall task here for the Yorkton Terriers, but this is a team that's battled all season long, and they were battling for their season, and there's 6 or 7 20-year-olds battling for their junior careers as well. So it's going to be a team that's not going to go down without a fight. And yeah, they're going to say, hey, we might have to travel up to Flin Flon on a Saturday. We'll see what happens, and I'm sure they take that 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 to travel up to Flin Flon to try to extend their junior careers.
And then bring it, and try and bring it back. You mentioned, getting a chance to finally see Charlie Tritt in person. Watched him online, and yeah, really good goaltender. There again, to be good, you got to be lucky too. There was some times where luck was on his side, and I was sitting there watching, and I'm like, Yorkton. You want, and I get it, you watch hockey, it's like shoot, and it's like, it's not 1980. Like, goalies are really good. Like, you got to beat them in different ways. And I was like, Yorkton needs to almost like get a little more creative, find the different lanes, move the puck. And then it was Jake Briltz who did that on that goal. He made a play and then dished it, and then Charlie was kind of stuck in the weeds. And I was like, that's what you got to do to beat this guy.
No, exactly. You would be transition. Like that's what Flin Flon scored the last number of games. Hey, it's 2-on-1s, it's 3-on-2s. Let's go back and forth. And yeah, Callum maybe had chances. A couple of those in game 1 and 2, but he's left out to dry a couple of those things. So yeah, you just gotta make sure you track the puck, make sure you move it side to side, and you've seen a couple of goals. You mentioned Jake set up there. You have to give yourself a chance, like Gabriel Corshane with his great speed, chance on a breakaway. You go 1-on-1 with netminder, you're probably going to score 50% or even more than 50%. So it's about manufacturing. I know. Look at their lineup right now. Terriers have changed things up, especially at the top line. Has been broken up a little bit here to try to provide some scoring, and it looks like it is going to be Alexander Montoya to start game number 4 here tonight. The guy that finished up last night. That's what this looks like from the scorecard. That's what's slated to happen. We'll see what happens come game time. But a little bit of change up here. Hey, you're do or die. You got to do whatever you can take to make things happen and try to advance one more day.
Yeah, and Flin Flon, we've been talking about them all year as well, and there's just being able to actually watch them at ice level down low. Yet they got some big body. They're a good hockey team all around. They got some big guys.
They do, yeah. Their back end is really good. Like even watching the game, like you talk about Carson Miller or Connor Miller, who's a great player. You got Reed Arbery, who's a good player. Joey Lees, but the line of Wyatt Stenton and Rhett Ewan and Landon Alexander is like talking to Robbie Hart, who is of course longtime play-by-play. And hats off to Robbie. He'll be inducted in the SJHL Hall of Fame here coming up this summer in Flin Flon, which is great accolade for him. But he says that Landon Alexander probably hits as hard as he's seen since Jordan Tutu type of thing. Like Landon Alexander, number 27, he can hit like a bulldozer, and he just provides that physical presence. And hey, if you're a Terrier defender or you're a Terrier forward, you probably maybe take an extra look around your shoulder going back when he's on the ice for sure. So that line has been very, very good here. But hey, home ice, game number 4, backs against the walls. The Yorkton Terriers are at their best. We've seen it not only this year, but also 2014, talking to a lot of alumni. Hey, we had our backs against the wall many times during that run to the RBC Cup final, and see if this 2026 edition can do the same.
Did Yorkton insert a couple of U18 kids, or at least one in the lineup yesterday?
Yeah, DJ Brass. DJ played last year with Estevan Bears, this past season, I guess, with Estevan. He was a top 10 scorer in AAA. Then Trey Peterson. Trey, of course, draft pick of Tri-City, local product from Sturgis area. So looks like Trey will be in the lineup. Looks like DJ might be out of the lineup tonight. But, those guys did their job. Like, these guys are young. Like, DJ Brass watched these guys growing up. He's a Terrier fan growing up. Trey Lotz, I know his cousin Justin Keller was a great player back in the day, about 10 or 15, 20 years ago as a Terrier player, and he's watched this growing up. So hey, it's a great moment for them. Mikhail Buds playing a local product. So it's 2 young guys. Hey, they did their job, and they did nothing they did. They put the pucks on net. They were physical, and they did their job on the ice last night.
We when we were doing the show, Flin Flon came into Taps yesterday, and then they had their pregame, and then we went for a couple of pints after. Then they came in for their postgame as well. I really wanted to talk to the bus driver and then figure out, like, miles wise, like how many are you pushing here? Have you remembered in your time a team that's had to do such that milk run that Flin Flon's had to do this year?
No, even talking to Rob, I think this is the most they've had to do it. Like, usually in the final, they've played like a Melfort, or they played Weyburn last year, but this has been pretty insane. Like, and then this is not just we're traveling up the day before. Like, we're traveling up the day before, we usually play, then we'll travel the day after. So you're there probably 3 or 4 nights on the road, and these bus drivers have been through a lot, especially with the weather the last month or so here in East Central Saskatchewan, Northwestern Manitoba, and still today. So hats off to all the bus drivers, and I know they got their brand new bus that they've fundraised for and they've purchased that they're sporting right now with a couple of new logos on the side. So yeah, it's hats off to all the bus drivers. I know I mentioned it earlier this season. The bus drivers are your unsung heroes of any hockey team, any junior hockey team here in this season.
Should I have maybe not been surprised with how many Flin Flon fans are in town? The breakfast this morning, at the game, obviously last night, maybe at the Cino last night too.
No, not really. Like, they had a fan bus, and I don't think it worked because, again, it was $100 for a fan bus. I don't think that worked, but a lot of people just made their trip, and there's actually a lot. Like, you look at their roster, like Connor's from Lipton, Ryan Ulmer's from Regina, Keaton's from Regina. You got a couple guys from the south, you got guys from Swift Current. Like, a lot of these guys are from the area, and they've got a lot of family and friends as well. So it's and then like Connor Miller's from Lipton. I'm sure the farmers from around his area, a mile away, they're going to come there on a trip. There's going to be 30 of them from Lipton coming down. So it's maybe not surprising, but there's a lot of longtime Like Larry Facetian's been around the team for a long time. He's a great supporter of them. He brings down, he's an older retired gentleman, and his wife, and a lot of board members have made their trips. So probably not surprised. And hey, this is something that hasn't happened since 1993. And I still hear stories in Melville about 1993 when they beat the Millionaires, when there was 3,500 people in the Melville Stadium for Game 7, and the fire chief had to kind of lock the doors, and people that didn't get tickets weren't able to get in. So it's been a long time coming for this Bomber squad. It could be a special night if they're able to be victorious. But hey, Yorkton Terrier fans are right there. They think they still have a chance here in this series, and why not? There's not 4 wins yet in the SJHL column, and who knows what can happen here. You get some momentum in the series. Who knows what can happen? I
was worried that when that glass popped out, I was like, ooh, we're here for a while, and I didn't see the guys that were fixing it. I didn't see one Case IH or John Deere hat on those guys, and I was like, oh, they need to bring in some reinforcements to fix this thing.
Yeah, I thought some farmers might have got there. I'll bring my truck up and I'll fix it for you. But it was a little bit of delay, but and those are unfortunate. As a rink worker, you're like, oh no, please don't happen, especially on provincial TV and the radio, and one of the biggest moments in junior hockey and sports in Saskatchewan. Yeah, but it's unfortunate, and I think that time, like, Terriers had some momentum. I think that little delay might have cost them a little bit in that second period, which is unfortunate. So hopefully nothing that's here tonight.
All right, travel safe. Have a good call. Appreciate it, and we'll catch up, of course, next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There it is. SJHL Report with Benny Walchuk, brought to you by Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, Visa Wealth, and GP Financial Services, helping business owners, farmers with a plan, gpfinancial.ca. Okay, we are giving away a customized backyard putting green. We're giving it away on May 1st. It's thanks to the good folks at the Classic Landscape Company. Probably let the guys have the day off today for the landscaping jobs. They're busy. They do more than putting greens. If you want to put in some fake turf or real turf, you need landscaping done at the house, the acreage, the cabin, whatever. Classic Landscape Company, they can travel. So we are giving away this customized backyard putting green. Today's key word. This is going to be a difficult one, Colson, for people. You text it in to 936-6262, and you just text in this word. I'm going to spell it for you. It's mulligan. Okay? So, mulligan. That's an MULLIGAN. Mulligan. To 936-6262. That is the word today for the Classic Landscape Company customized putting green that we're giving away May 1st here on the Sports Cage. We were doing the show live yesterday, and we were talking about that. We gave the word away late yesterday, and then bogey, and then a bunch of people were sending it in wrong spelling. I'm like, no, chikai, right spelling. But people are like, you guys are giving away a putting green? Like, yeah. Well, Classic Landscape Company is, and it's like legit. It's installed, little fringe on the side as well. Yeah, not a fridge. You show up with this. Definitely not a Samsung. We've been through that on the program. If you're buying a fridge, don't buy a Samsung fridge. Learn from me. Worst ice makers in the league. Can we go to break? We'll come back. We'll talk some NHL. We're going to do sprinkle of the day when we get back. Last night, guess who took the Anaheim Mighty Ducks? -1.5. This guy. We'll talk some NHL hockey and sprinkle of the day. What are you guys thinking out there? 936-6262, Prairieland Rentals text line. Maybe Benny, what do you got? What do you got on the docket tonight? Sports Cage for Access Communications on this Thursday. We'll be right back. Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League final series tonight in Yorkton. Terriers trying to prolong their season. 7 p.m. The game can be heard on our sister station GX94 starting at 6:45. Regina Pack Canadians fall 6-5 to Quebec today at the Telus Cup, their first loss. Western Hockey League playoffs starts tonight in Everett. Penticton in town, 8 p.m. our time. National Hockey League tonight. The late ones, Los Angeles hosting Colorado. Buffalo's at Boston. Carolina at Ottawa. And if you didn't hear, Jorgen Hus retiring from the Canadian Football League and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You talked about the emotions of it all.
Yeah, it's a tough day for sure. It's such a big part of my life. I love these guys. I love these the brothers in this building, and I wish that I had them earlier in my career, because I'm truly having the most fun I've had being a Rough Rider with this group, this staff. It's been incredible.
Sports tickers for Reliance Heath. Rent water, softener, and heater for about $1.20 a day. Get $400 cash back when you switch to Reliance Heath. Sprinkle of the day, Colson, for Sports Select. Make your picks online now. Generate a QR code. Go to the Lotto Spot retailer. Bingo, bango. There you got it. All right. I'm probably not going to get to the co-op in time for the 5 o'clock face-off. Buffalo at Boston. Man, are people now writing off the poor Sabres, thinking that Boston is just this absolute wagon. The tie, 350. I like my ties in the game going into overtime. The over-under's 5.5. Carolina, Ottawa. That one starts at 5:30. At Ottawa. Ottawa's like the Yorkton Terriers last night. They just deserve better in game 2. That one, if it goes into a little extra hockey, which they played a lot of extra hockey in game 2, 355 on the pro line. If you like the point spread, obviously minus a half a goal, and then the over under 5.5. And then the late game in Los Angeles, 355 to go to a tie. Colorado's 195 as on the road. And Los Angeles, who talk about fly under the radar. I think Colorado's speed is just a lot for Los Angeles's defense to handle. But LA's paying $270 on the pro line, or the over-under there is 5.5. Again, make your picks online. Generate a QR code. Scan it at your Lotto Spot retailer. Every bet is 100% legal. Must be 18 plus to play. When you're ready to play with the original Sports Select. Oh, Boston Buffalo tonight. It starts at 5. We'll be able to catch a little bit of that one. I got some text messages last night about the Ducks Oilers games from Oilers fans and all that. I don't know. The 5 people, Oilers fans are still thinking 5. Anaheim just looks like a sneaky good team. Kevin on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, he's got a sprinkle of the day here. Got to back the Bruins at home and over in the Sens Canes. I like that, Kev. Dwayne from Pilot Butte, you spelt Mulligan wrong. It's just so you know, because if I see it, that means it's wrong. There we go. Benny the Rochdale Rocket coming in. He said, sprinkled on Stars and Ducks point spread yesterday too. Cha-ching. Picking 2 games as the trick of the trade, Barnyard. What are you thinking tonight then, Benny? Let's be honest. What do you got on the go? I don't know. I like Kevin's maybe the over in the Carolina Ottawa game. Does Ottawa win that though tonight at home? Emotion, because if they lose it, she's curtains. Lower them down. Great to watch this NHL playoff season. I'm parenting solo tonight, so it does sound like a Western Pizza kind of night. It'd be stupid not to indulge a little bit. Okay, hour 2, Arash Madani. I don't even want to touch on, I think he's going to touch on the U of R women's basketball coaching fiasco and everything that. Sharky sure let her fly yesterday in his opinion. So Arash might want to get to that. And then one of the Sutter brothers, Rich Sutter, who's in town, is going to join us also in hour 2. It's the Sports Cage on this Thursday for Access Communications. We will be back after the news. Hour 2 of the program. Welcome back. Thanks for making time. If you're listening on the streams, maybe you're watching through our YouTube channel sportscage.com, or of course on 620 CKRM. Again, keep us updated road-wise if there's anything you want us to pass on. Roads were greasy, and I was driving back from Yorkton at about 11 o'clock from Balcarras to the Balgony turnoff onto the, you know what I'm talking about, all that. It was dicey. Backyard putting green giveaway, Classic Landscape Company, a couple other people sending in the wrong spelling of Mulligan. Gonna help you guys out here. Mulligan, Mulligan. Mulligan. That's, so go back and send in that, and you'll be entered to win. Thanks to the Classic Landscape Company. Rich Sutter, a little bit later. Clutch performer coming up in a bit, but it's NFL Draft Day, and let's talk to Arash Madani.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
One of those bipolar weather days today in Sasky. Arash, you ever been to Yorkton, Saskatchewan?
I have not. I actually don't think I've been anywhere but Regina, Barney. I've driven from Regina to Winnipeg, from Winnipeg through to Calgary, vice versa. But Saskatoon's on the list. I got to get there.
Yorkton, good people. It was fun last night. Little Junior A league final. Rink was packed. Beers were flowing. People were... Yeah, Flin Flon fans and Yorkton fans. At the end of the night,
How many anthems?
One, okay. just one. And then at the end of the night, everyone's banding together trying to take down the casino. It was great. It was great.
How did that go? How did that end up?
I came out on the plus side. Also, I took Anaheim minus 1.5 yesterday. People thought I was crazy. But tonight, we regroup. Tonight. I got to figure out what I'm doing. But you'll be watching the NFL draft because you got your Minnesota Vikings gear on. On Tuesday, we talked about Ottawa's Hakeem Messidor. And where are we going in now? Have things changed? Is there still some hype around this kid? First round kind of maybe?
I tell you what, Barney, I can't remember the last time I've seen something like this. Today, Messidor's draft line on, if you want to make a sprinkle, his over-under of where he'd be picked started, yesterday it was 24.5. Today it moved to 15.5. I can't remember the last time a mid to late round pick has had their draft stock on draft day go up 9 spots where the over-under goes, okay, maybe end of the first round, could drop to the second.
Wow.
To suddenly you could be in the top half of the first round. That's a wild one. And how about the fact that it's a Canadian pass rusher? But we talked about this the other day. He's not an ordinary prospect. The fact that he's 25 already, the fact that he's a grown man, the fact that he's a rush end who can be plug and play, who can get after the quarterback, but more importantly, what a run stopper he can be. Suddenly, the Messidor stock is going up, and what a day for it to happen on draft day. Usually they're not wrong on these things, Barney. Unlike you, who took the casino down last night, the house usually wins. The house must be aware of something going on with Messidor.
I think the casino's still fine. I think the lights turned on this morning, all the machines. They never did stop. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Is Messidor going to the draft?
He is not.
Oh, okay.
He's back in Ottawa, man. Yeah. He is back with his family. He's back with the people who were kind of there for him at the beginning of his football journey. He talks about the North Gloucester Giants, what a kind of pivotal part of his, amateur upbringing it was, and he wants to be there. One of the neat things about Messidor, he still wears a chain with a maple leaf on it, Barney, and like on the biggest night of his football career, he's choosing not to be all dapped up in Pittsburgh with 100,000 people. He's back home. He's not in Miami. He's back home in Ottawa. I think that's really cool.
Mendoza. I don't know. Like, is there going to be a lot of hype around this? He's not there as well. It's like, all right, okay, you're on. Good. Let's get on to pick 2.
Pick 2 is where the draft starts, and that's where it gets really interesting because, like, obviously terrible teams pick in the top, 3 or 4, but like the Jets are hopeless with no roster. The Cardinals have nothing to speak of, and then it's the Titans at 4 who picked number 1 overall last year, and like there's a lot of people saying, okay, get through the first 15 picks and then pick like 15 to 64. Middle of the first round to the end of the second round is basically the same level of player. That there's not a ton of, exceptional talent, and that the 2027 draft has that kind of talent. So it's going to be interesting to see how these teams, especially the crap teams, really kind of approach this. And whether or not they'd be willing to trade down with a contender just to get more draft capital.
Yeah. What? Where's this Jeremiah Love gonna go? And now are we going? Okay, we're taking running backs high.
I think we're not taking running backs plural high. I think we're taking running back high.
He's that no miss.
It's. You look around, right? Sports is copycat, Barney, So
Yeah.
You see what Derrick Henry's doing in Baltimore. You saw what Saquon did in Philly. If you have a home run hitter who can be an every down back, who can catch balls out of the backfield, who can be absolutely explosive, those are the check marks. And Jeremiah Love, like, he literally checks every single box. Like, he can run between the tackles, and the next thing you know, he's gone. And I'll be honest, like, I look at this draft, and we talked about the first 4 picks. Barney, if he's sitting there at 5, think about what just happened. John Harbaugh leaves Baltimore for the Giants. John Harbaugh, who had Ray Rice and they won a Super Bowl together. They went all in around Derrick Henry last year. Does Jeremiah Love, I know Cam Scadabo's there, but he's a gimmick player with his foot pointed in the wrong direction last year. Is John Harbaugh, especially when you have 10 overall, you can go get an offensive lineman. Is John Harbaugh going to be a trenches guy at 10 and a mean, bruising running back at 5? That's what I wonder about tonight.
I don't know. What do your Minnesota Vikings need?
All of the above.
Jesus is the answer. Jesus.
I mean, the problem with the Vikes, like, you look at it, they're at 18 tonight. Like, this is the Vikings' sweet spot, between 16 and 24 year after year. So not high enough to go get an impact player, but low enough where you're going to be kind of taking a bit of a risk. I'd be okay with them trading out of the first round. I really would. Because I don't think there's going to be a quality offensive lineman there. I don't think there's going to be a quality corner or safety waiting there. If there is, go get it. Otherwise, trade out of it.
Man, Pittsburgh looks off the charts, though. What a great idea moving this thing around to places like this.
And you know what's amazing too, Barney? Like, how things like these happen by accident. Like, every single year, the draft was at Radio City Music Hall in New York.
Yeah.
Right? And at first it was just on Saturdays. And then it expands to Thursdays, etc. But then Radio City was booked one year, and the NFL didn't know what to do. So I think the first year they went to Chicago.
What is booked at Radio City that the NFL can't trump in on? It's got to be some Saudi prince's kid's birthday. Other than that, you're like, Madonna, boom, punted. You punt. We're the NFL.
Would you like to know what bumped the NFL draft and created this? Like, remember, Radio City seats 6,000 people. I went to the draft in 2007, the year the Vikes drafted Adrian Peterson. Mm-hmm. I happened to be in town. I was covering the Ottawa Senators at the time. They were playing the Devils in a playoff series. So during the day, I went to the draft. At night, I was covering the game. But anyway, in 2014, they got bumped for something called Hearts and Lights, which was a spring show featuring Barney, drumroll please, the Rockettes. That is what has led to 100,000 people being out there on the street in Pittsburgh and has turned the draft into one of the biggest tourism economic boosts for any city, for any event in North America.
We've heard people benefiting for stupider things when it comes to the United States justice system. The Rockettes should put a claim in that the NFL, they want to get paid because they were a part of this, and now this windfall.
I'm just looking it up. If you would like to stay at a Marriott property in Pittsburgh tonight, the Westin Pittsburgh is $793. The Renaissance Pittsburgh is $744.
Oof.
Okay, now let's check next Thursday. And $793 and $794 becomes...
Because the Penguins are going to be out.
$216. So it's 4 times the going rate to be down in Pittsburgh tonight rather than next Thursday.
I should have got you to look up hotels in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, but that's not a very good area. That's the area I lived in for like 2.5 months. Poof. I saw some stuff. I thought I knew what hard was coming from the west side. I was like, whoa, boy. How do we lock this up?
That's a story for the nooner someday.
Yeah. I heard also today with this draft moving around, because there are certain locations that are never going to host a Super Bowl, obviously. But now with some of these new stadiums, some of these are going to be in the mixer. Nashville is going to be in the rotation when KC gets their new one. Washington, that place looks off the charts. They're going to be in the Super Bowl situation. I thought that was interesting because we're kind of so used to where's the Super Bowl this year? New Orleans. Where's the Super Bowl next year? Phoenix. Where's the Super Bowl next year? Tampa. But it's going to become, I don't want to say half the league, but now there's a lot of other stadiums going to be at play in, let's say, 5 years down the road.
100%. And when the NFL comes in, they take over city, county, and state.
Except if you're the Rockettes.
Except for the Rockettes. I don't think the Rockettes are going to take over Allegiant Stadium in Vegas in 2029 when the Super Bowl returns there. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of Vegas, I was listening to a sports show, I don't know, was it late last night or this morning, whatever, and they were talking about when Vegas gets their NBA team. When do you think that's happening?
Pure guess, obviously. Probably 2031.
Oh, that's okay.
I would assume maybe even 2030. There's a few things at play that's interesting there. One is you're going to need 2 teams, so it's going to be Seattle and Vegas. Seattle needs an arena. Vegas is going to build a basketball arena, even though they have a hockey arena right in the middle of the strip. But at least the basketball team could play in T-Mobile Arena or whatever it's called, where the Golden Knights play until that's ready. Barney, I find this amazing. If we were having this conversation 10 years ago, 12 years ago, the idea of one pro sports franchise going to Vegas was still so taboo. Now they already have the NHL. They already have the NFL. The MLS is going there. They're building a baseball stadium where the A's, the Athletics, who are in Sacramento right now, are going to move over there.
We saw that. We just a couple of weeks ago, the kids and I'm like, look at it. They're digging. Like things are coming along there. You gotta be elevated to see it because they've dug down so much. But yeah, it's unreal.
Yep. P.F. Chang's cheeseburger egg rolls.
Heavy lettuce wraps in the ribs.
Good. And so now they're going to have everything. They can have everything. It's wild how quickly it's all happened.
And The one thing I heard is like for the basketball stadium there's a number of different parties that want to build it, that want to do it. It's like a South Strip, say North Strip. And one was like, it's almost going to look like the Sphere. And then it's going to be the basketball. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's something. It's not just going to be your cookie cutter. Here's another arena. It's Vegas, and the way things are going, it's going to be, off the
build it off Fremont Street. Let's go to Old Vegas for the basketball team.
Oh yeah, right near the plaza. Oof. Some people watching. There's some people watching down there.
I've been upstairs the pool area at the plaza. There's some creatures walking around.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know if I've ever stepped foot in the place, but yeah, it's interesting down there. Okay, let's shift it locally here. I want to get your take on the latest situation regarding the U of R. Obviously, Sharky was hard yesterday on the program. Said what he said. He's not taking it back, nor should he.
I've been thinking a lot of, I watched Sharky's take twice. Colson sent me the link. And the first time I wanted to hear what he had to say. And the second time I actually studied how he said it. And I got to give Sharky credit about one thing: his delivery of the message. We now live in a world where it's who's yelling at each other the loudest. Who's going to be the most bombastic? Sharky he kept that entire rant in the fairway. He kept the driver in the bag, but he went for it. I thought that was an interesting deal. Barney, here's my take from everything that's gone on over the last few days. Existing in cloaks of secrecy never work. Never works. You're going to get got no matter what. In an era of cell phones and cameras and everything going on, just as
big mouth people that want to be, yeah,
right. And to say nothing of a community of this size that has an alumni base that is so passionate about the basketball team. And so when you continue to mismanage the entire situation, this is what happens. Now, look, we now live in a world where people say, well, everybody has a phone, so anybody can be a content creator. Okay, sure. Well, everybody has a stove, and that doesn't make them a chef. That doesn't make them, opening up an elite steakhouse. When it comes to crisis communications, when it comes to managing a message, just because you think you know what you're doing does not mean you actually do know what you're doing. And when it's not handled well at the beginning or at any stage, and the Vrabel-Rossini thing's a masterclass in this. When Vrabel starts saying, hey, this is laughable, right away that pushback, that indignation, that's what helped fuel this. The silence from the U of R and how this has all been handled as this has gained more noise is a masterclass of what not to do. And that's what's continued to give it legs, and that's what's continued to give this flame more and more oxygen.
How long are we waiting here for something from this investigation? Like Sharky yesterday was saying, 24 hours, let's go, which I kind of agree with. What are you thinking?
Well, I don't know to what level the investigation goes. Is it just on the process of this hire? Is it just on the process of this process? Are they going to dig deeper into other hires along the way? Are they going to do a deep dive investigation into the culture of the athletic department? We just don't know how deeply rooted or not this investigation may or may not be. What I do know, Barney, is that at the university, government, public sector level, these things usually take time. It is very bureaucratic. It is not a private entity that can come in and make a decision after talking to 2 or 3 people. I'd be shocked if this is resolved by the end of this week, by the end of day tomorrow. Although it wouldn't surprise me if there is a Friday afternoon news dump at some point about this whole situation. But it's a good question, and I have no real idea line of sight on when the conclusion to all of this becomes. The fact that the president's involved, though, Barney, that's a big one. That's a big one.
No name text messages here, so I don't on this issue. I don't want to read the no name ones. Just, oh man, have I gotten messages? Mostly pro Sharky, some not pro Sharky, and this. And I'm just like,
so give me one that's. I'm interested in hearing one that's not pro Sharky, just to understand
I guess it was more based around what he said about the men's hockey team hire last year. I guess they're saying there allegedly is some discrepancies in what he was saying as far as paying and how the process went. Again, I don't know right or wrong. We can get them in a room or get them together on the program and fire holes in whose story. Sharky's very passionate about it. You got to give him credit for that. And at the end of the day, I still don't want to come across, and I said this to everybody here, I'm like, I am not the reporter. Like I'm just doing a show, trying to entertain. And at the end of the day, like a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people, it's like, okay, you did what? Like, did someone stand in front of a mirror before they made this decision and say it out loud? Because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and
Sharky yesterday saying it's a male hire, which you could have connected all those dots. Okay, yeah, well that was obvious. And then Sharky said again, allegedly from Simon Fraser, which plays out of the States, and then and he originally hails from Scotland. Like Michaela, it was here doing a good job. She's alumni. She's from here. I don't care if they bomb, like I said, they bomb the interview. For starters, like, why are we even doing the interview? Is it just come in, shut the door, shake hands, pour a coffee, be like, all right, that was good. See you later. Like, really? You don't, her work is there. It was a month and a half ago. You saw it. Did you see all the players? They love her. Maybe there's some that, whatever, it's a coach. But I'm like, did anyone say this out loud and think this was going to be a good idea and this was going to go over well in this little farming community of Regina?
It's so baffling and puzzling how this has gotten to the point that it's gotten to at this stage of things.
I feel like there's more. There's gotta be something else here.
But then when you start thinking about what else it possibly could be, and again, it's scenarios, right? The more you think about what else it could possibly be, it makes no sense on what the university did and the way they did it.
Yeah. You know what, I kind of leave on a lighter note. You got me thinking there when you said not everybody with a stove is a cook. And you got me thinking about Vegas and Gordon Ramsay. And Gordon Ramsay's burger place in Planet Hollywood. Yes. I ate there once. That could have been the most overrated piece of food I've ever put in my mouth.
At least it was food that you put in your mouth.
Oh my God.
So I will just share this. One of my top, I've done a lot of traveling over the years for work in different cities. Top 5 restaurant on tour, off strip in Vegas. It's called Piero's. Okay. You walk into Piero's, it's like you're in a scene from Goodfellas or an episode of The Sopranos. Barney, you wouldn't know if it's 1926 or 2026. The servers look like they were serving in 1926. It was Jerry Tarkanian's old haunt, the UNLV coach. We went in a few years ago before a fight, Mayweather-Pacquiao, I think it was, and like 2 tables over, there was Mike Tyson, and a couple tables over, there was Deion Sanders. Piero's, off-strip, Vegas. If anyone's ever down there, You will not regret it.
Mrs. S and I, the other famous Italian one off strip, they have a gentleman plays the piano and all, Casa d'Amore. They used to have a pink limousine that would pick you up. Unreal. The last in December, the steakhouse that is one of the top ranked steakhouses, and it's been forever in Vegas, is the Golden Steer. And it's like the Golden Steer. You got to try it, and it's old. So Mrs. S got us a Rezzo. It's very hard to get into. It's old school. It's all that. It was really good. The experience, but it was the night my credit card got locked for some reason and didn't work. And Mrs. S didn't have her cards on her. So we are scrounging together whatever cash we have to pay this bill. I felt like I was 17 years old again at Bonanza.
Did you have to go wash any dishes?
No, I used to wash some dishes back in the day. I would have got right. I would have been elbows up in there. I get a short line cook. I've done that.
That's panic.
Yeah. It's like,
that's
all
absolute
right. Let's roll up our sleeves, give us some gloves, and oh man. But luckily we had enough cash. Sportsbook was good to me that day. But I was like, oh, this would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Be like, hey, we're gonna come back. We're going to have to go and get my wife's car. And then, oh, yeah, what a couple of pigeons. But really good place. Really, 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 really good place. But Piero's? No, what did you say it was? Piero's. Wow. Sounds like a SportsCage trip.
Oh,
some of that.
Let's go watch Mendoza and the Raiders next year. What do you say, Barney?
And we'll be kind on the budget. We'll stay at the Plaza.
50-cent Bud Lights at the pool upstairs, I'm sure.
All right, bud. Yeah. Have a good weekend.
Don't drink the draft at the Plaza, I'll tell you that much.
Talk to you next week.
Yeah.
Coast to Coast with Arash Madani. It's brought to you by Brian Golly, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Golly. We'll come back. Clutch Performer. We're still waiting for Rich Sutter to come on with us this hour as well. It's the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Sometimes we do Clutch Performer for Kellen Solar. Sometimes we do non-clutch performer. I'm going to have one non-clutch one, but my first clutch one, call me cheesy, whatever, I don't care. Yorkton Terriers organization, the SJHL, Flin Flon Bombers, town city of Yorkton, Tap Sports Bar. Man, yeah, it was great. It was so much fun, and just small town Sasky. People just being good people. Sasky gentlemen. The great Chris Schultz from Strasbourg used to say.
There we go.
Go ahead.
We got a couple. I had a couple from yesterday because we were quick yesterday, but two baseball ones real quick. And they were from yesterday, so I don't remember the guy's name. But
George Bell.
Maybe not. Baseball player here. Hit the catcher with the bat. It happens, right? Waited 3 seconds, made sure the guy was okay. Still got to third base.
Yeah, if you're not watching the stream, he made sure he's okay, and then the guy in right field, kind of a bad bounce off the wall.
Yeah, kind of a bad bounce, but yeah.
Still got a triple.
Still got a triple out of it. Yeah, so I was like, good job there. Could have had an infield if he had taken off, but...
We don't know his name, though.
I can't remember it either.
That's okay.
Yeah. And then San Diego and Colorado game. Watch this fan catch this foul ball here.
This will go foul. It's hit a long way.
It's going to bounce off the decking.
Tatis was dancing off at first.
Dives out.
Ouch!
That guy's all right. He got
But makes the catch.
He's got a head.
Oh, dude.
Ouch.
Full sends for it. Probably went over 2-3 rows.
And back to the plastic chair.
Yeah.
It's a baseball.
Yeah. But hey, kudos, dude. He got it. And here's my one that I saw today.
He might need a disc replacement in his back in the near future.
No kidding. Here's my one I saw today. So, you know how the Super Bowl is hosted by a different network every year?
Yep.
Right? So this year it's ESPN. And this was their commercial today announcing that they get to host it.
It's a competitive team. Man, they saw Crew. You can sell that.
Crew.
With the 61st pick of the Super Bowl, the National Football League selects ESPN. You're on the clock.
The awkward hug. Classic.
Hey, congratulations on your first Super Bowl.
That's really well.
Like, that was good. Good job, ESPN.
So good. Okay, my non-clutch one. Do you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
It was the American broadcast last night. I guess the Canadian broadcast didn't show this. Oiler fans, you're all high and mighty at the Oiler game.
From the crowd?
Third period, 5:51 left. Someone throws.
Ducks players on the end of the bench are looking in the section.
What looks to be is a big
as you look at it.
combination plate of rotisserie chicken. Gross. On the ice.
Like, come on.
Yeah, that's good chick. You take that home, make soup out of that.
Exactly.
Some broth. But yeah, I guess they didn't show it on the Canadian side. But and then Oiler fans were beating the snot out of each other on public transit. I saw on social media the other day. Things are getting wild. So it's a tough world out there. Clutch performer. You got one more?
No.
Clutch performers for Kellen Solar, the local solar company from Lumsden, Saskatchewan, family owned. Visit them if you need solar. We'll be right back. It is a Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage for Access Communications on this Thursday, trusted in rural Saskatchewan for internet, TV, and home security. First puck drops 5 o'clock NHL tonight. Let's go to the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings. No need to cook tonight. The weather's gross. Grab Western Pizza, sit down, watch some puck, and get after it. Maybe sprinkle if you want. Joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline, Rich Sutter, who is in town for Hockey Helps the Homeless. Rich, thanks for doing this today.
Thanks for having me. I'm loving your colors you got on there.
Yeah, well, I was in Yorkton yesterday. Terriers Flin Flon, Game 3 of the SJHL finals. So got to represent the SJHL. Great hockey, of fast, back and forth, tough, hard, kind of like back in the day when you used to play, which we'll get to in a bit. But first off, let's talk about Hockey Helps the Homeless. I've heard about it going around the country. How do we explain this to the people?
You know, this is the event that I've been on board with for a while, and Canada Life is the big people behind it out of Eastern Canada. But I think this is a wonderful event. To be able to come and help, especially in the inaugural event here in Regina, I think is very, very important. Met the small group of guys that came up to Saskatoon last year. It was a great visit. Really hoping they could get it off the ground this year. To come and be a part of it. Like a lot of the other events in the country of this same. With the Hockey Helps Homeless, it'll be a little smaller this year, but the biggest thing is it's going to be awesome. It's so important that people get on board to help with this. I mean, we see this strife of hockey with the homeless right across our countries, right across our country and our cities. I live in Lethbridge, and it's actually quite atrocious, to be quite frank with you about it. A lot of these people, look, it's self-induced, but a lot of it is not, especially with the way the world is today. And I think it's very, very important that people get involved and support it. I love the idea of doing it through hockey teams and how we go about raising the money through the groups of the teams that play in the tournament. But I think it's even more important that the athletes, the ex-pro athletes, get on board and support it.
So there's a draft.
And I think that's yes, it's a draft. So what it is, So what it is the teams will get together and they have to raise a certain amount of funds.
Okay.
There obviously are sponsors in the area, other than Canada Life. And then a bunch of the hockey players come into town, and it's either, it can be guys from the States, guys from Canada, the women's hockey team, Canada, And we have just get together and have dinner tonight and have a fun time at Canadian Brew House over in Gordon. And the teams draft. So whoever raises the most amount of money, you fall into that draft order. And it's a fun time. I mean, and for some guys, it's awesome because some guys have never been drafted in the first round before. And so it kind of makes we have fun with it, right? But the biggest thing is for me personally, it's about the people.
Yeah.
Absolutely coming in here and meeting people. And I just want to very personally say that how happy I am to be here for the first one. And hopefully we can just get it going in the right direction where we can really make it a really large and successful event for years moving forward.
So, are you coaching, or who else is in town? Guys that maybe weren't taken first overall.
We are playing.
You're playing.
100%.
Oh wow.
100% we're playing.
So you just skate? So you still skate quite a bit?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I think, other than dealing with a rib cage thing that I'm still going to play through, that this stuff I'm doing, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, look, I had a good buddy, Reed Peterson, pick my brother Ryan and I up today, and he's excited about coming and watch. I said, Reed, slow down. It's not like we're playing at a high pace out here, but the biggest thing is we love playing.
Oh, that's cool.
It's the time spent in the locker room with the guys, telling stories, and for me, it's also about networking. It's about meeting more people in the world and getting to know the younger people, especially. But have fun doing it and raising for the right cause.
Jeez, I love it. The draft is tonight. It's going down the Carmichael Outreach Center here in Regina, going down this weekend. Rich, let's get into some hockey stuff here if I can ask you. One thing I wanted to ask you, twin brother Ron, right? And I think we had you on the Monday Nooner podcast as well a little while ago. And
yes.
It's funny because I'm covering the Western Hockey League this year in Medicine Hat, and they played the Pats in the first round, and they got these Ruck twins. And I'm talking to Les Lazaruk and some of the old play-by-play guys and going, you ever heard of two twins in the Western Hockey League that have tore it up that even remotely? And everyone's like, no. And then I'm like, Rich and Ron with Lethbridge, but now, so it's, how many years later, and we're seeing it again. You're in Lethbridge, you would know what's going on with these twin brothers in Medicine Hat.
Yeah, I'm actually excited. Going to go back down and watch them play Tuesday and Wednesday, games 3 and 4 against the Raiders. So, they're two very skilled, talented kids. Probably have erased, I think, a lot of the scouts and people's thoughts about where they would go this year in terms of how they kind of popped. And they've taken their games to a whole different level on a very good organization and a well-coached team by Willie Desjardins. And they'll have their hands full against the Raiders. The Raiders have got a great team as well, but these twins are special players. Projected to be, want them to be a first-round pick, and a possible early second. But there's talk about, maybe them being drafted together, like the one can't play well with the other. Much like what everyone said about Ronnie and I.
Yeah.
But I really think that you will see a team try and make a move to pick one and to move up in the draft.
Because your brother, you went to Philly, he went, or was it one to Pittsburgh or Philly, and then you guys it ended up.
Ronnie went fourth to Philly. I went 10th to Pittsburgh.
And then you get to Philly quickly thereafter. How did that happen?
Well, it was really weird. It was the first year of when the NHL amateur draft really became a public forum, in a sense where it was in a big group setting, and that first year was in the Montreal Forum, and Ronnie went fourth, I went 10th, and as soon as I was picked, each team was calling each other, going, "Okay, let's make a deal," and eventually it happened. we were still 17 at the time, and by the time we turned pro, fully turned pro full time at 19, it was at the back end of training camp when I was flipped to Philadelphia.
Oh, that's how it went down. Okay, very interesting. Are you still doing the agent thing at all, scouting?
No. Honestly, my career, I helped out a little bit with some of the groups when I retired from playing. I'd retired from a broken back. But mainly the last 25 years in 3 different organizations and hockey operations. And I took a 9-year-old granddaughter that said, Papa, it's time to come home and see us. So I've been home this year and sneaking away to play hooky, to do all this other stuff with the homeless the last 2 years, like I said. I would love to go back for sure. I just feel like with my experience, I've still got something to give to an organization. I love working with younger people. I love listening, and the way today's game is going, I still think there's a need for guys like us to come and help organizations.
And I'm sure you get to a lot of, or you watch the Hurricanes closely as well, the dub in general. What's your take on the, now we're into year 2 of the WHL NCAA, where kids are starting to go. What's your take on that? I'm curious.
That's a great question. With brother Brent and his wife Connie owning the Rebels and Red Deer, there's been a lot of questions that have gone still unanswered with the agreement with the NCAA. I think it's going to take another year or 2 to work this stuff out, because with where and how the NCAA has gone from a money standpoint with their athletes, it's simply getting out of hand. And when you look at the numbers that are being thrown around already for a handful of Western League guys, particularly that are ready to be drafted and have that next year, it's really hard for these Western League teams, especially teams like Everett, Red Deer. I mean, let's just name 2 or 3 that are successful franchises that are. I mean, how do you expect owners to throw around that kind of money? I mean, so how do you call this an agreement? It's not an agreement. I don't think it's just that's going to be effective and work well for the Canadian Hockey League.
Yeah, the Swift Currents, the Brandons.
Exactly. Those are the teams that that we really care about too, and need to be concerned about, and we care about our product in the Western Prairies and the small towns or smaller cities, and we have to find a way to help keep it there.
I want to close on this. I want to get your take. What do you like the current structure and how they do the NHL playoffs? We're maybe seeing, this Dallas, Minnesota coming in hot and heavy. We're seeing Pittsburgh and Philly, but or do you prefer it maybe the way it was back in the day, the Patrick, the Adams, and all that, or do you like how they're doing it now?
I think there's a real strong argument for both, and I would argue for both. You see where it is today, and you think, well, okay, it's fine. The way that some of the playoff matchups are working out already early in their series, but I know for a fact that when we played, it doesn't matter who you played. Like, the concern always is now the fallback excuse is, well, we need the rivalries. Well, guess what? If you care enough about winning in the springtime, you'll have a rivalry whoever you are playing by game 1. And so that's where I still would love the old 1 play 16, 2 play 17 and down, but it is what it is. I would hope that they would still strongly consider doing something down the road. I think we're getting to a point now where we talk about each of the last few years. It's kind of ironic talking with some of my brothers the other day, was that, well, 2 years ago, the playoffs were incredible. Last year, the playoffs were incredible. This year, with the new teams making it, that have been out for a while making it, the playoffs are even better. You look at the parity. You almost wish that we could find a way to probably include at least 2 or 3 more playoff teams, because there's really, really good teams not making the playoffs.
Yeah. And next year, you look at the East next year. I was listening to a show and then going through it, and I'm like, it's gonna be hard to make it this year. How are like these Detroits and the Islanders gonna get in next year? Man, it's and the parodies there. It'll be very interesting. All right. Well, sounds like a really cool event. Hockey helps the homeless. Yeah, get out there, up and down your wing. Right, 200-foot game out there.
Well, thank you very much. I hope people come out and support it. Look, this is for a great cause, and we need to do these things to help these people that are struggling.
Right on. Thanks, Rich. Thanks for being in town. Have a good time.
You bet. Okay, thank you very much.
From the famous Sutter brothers, Rich Sutter joining us here on the Sports Cage. Viking, Alberta. Oh, you go through the hockey DB and the elite prospects, man. Some of the guys and played with, and oh, geez, this is good times. Takes a guy back. It's a Sports Cage. We are on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. They're trying to stay alive tonight. The Yorkton Terriers. Game number 4 of the SJHL final 7 o'clock puck drop in Yorkton. Flin Flon, of course, leading that series. You can hear the game on GX 94 starting at 6:45. Regina Pat Canadians fall to Quebec in overtime at the Telus Cup today. First loss of the tourney. They'll take on Okanagan tomorrow. A win there solidifies first place. Western Hockey League playoffs continue tonight, starting the series in Everett. Penticton's in town. National Hockey League, the late one tonight's going to have Colorado skating in Los Angeles. Colorado leads at 2-0. Buffalo, Boston tied 1-1 at 5 p.m. And then 5:30, we got Carolina, Ottawa, with the Canes leading 2-0 there. They're more than hockey, extreme hockey and sport. Now baseball, lacrosse, umbrella marketing as well. They're local. New management, 3 locations, McIntyre Street in Regina, the Cooperator Center, and now Temple Gardens Center in Moose Jaw. Extreme hockey and sport. Hour 3 is coming up. Glen Suitor is going to start that off. It is a Sports Cage. We'll be back after the news. Welcome back to the Thursday show for Access Communications, trusted in rural Saskatchewan for internet, TV, and home security. Colson is with me. If you missed any of the program, you can go back and listen to it in podcast form later or watch it on YouTube. Coming up in hour 3, Glen Suitor, and then our chat with Tommy Stevens, who was in studio in hour 1. If you missed it, the Backyard Putting Green contest from the Classic Landscape Company. We're awarding a custom-made backyard putting green installed from the Classic Landscape Company on Friday, May 1st. You get in by texting in the keyword daily. And today's word, we had some trouble. Some of the people had some trouble. Mulligan. M-U-L-L-I-G-A-N. Mulligan. To 936-6262. And you're in. You'll be prompted, you'll see it, to win a backyard putting green. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Let's go talk to Glen Suitor.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Glen Suitor on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Freeze Tome and Lumber. Locally owned, family grown, rooted in our community for 70 years in Regina and Fort Capel.
There he is, there, man, Glenn. We got the bipolar weather again out in Sasky today.
Wow, yeah, like I'm on my way to Regina and Saskatoon early next week. We're gonna get rid of the snow by then, aren't we? Come on, Barney.
Wow, there might be some more. You might want to pack a number of different garments. It could be hot. It could be cold. It was like 24 degrees the other day. It felt like out there on the West Coast, nice. And then today, again, it's like we're living in Churchill, Manitoba.
Yeah. There's some down south that would say, see, and everyone's talking about global warming. It's not warm in Regina right now. Like, come on. We should call it global upheaval, not global warming. Hey, one quick question for you though. I was listening in and have been listening all day, but listening in today, and the word mulligan. So I was curious the moment you put that as the word, how many, you and Sharky, hypothetical, you and Sharky are out on the green, or out on the whole first hole of the the match. How many mulligans are you permitted to take in that matchup?
Breakfast ball, the first tee shot, if it's kind of or breakfast ball, yes. Mulligans, no, 0. 0
mulligans. Okay, how many gimmies that are a little bit further than?
Well, if it's Sharky, I want him to stay happy. So I don't mind giving a lengthy putt. I know I get lengthy putts too sometimes on a give me front. It's charity. I'll take the charity for sure. So a few, but no mulligans, no mulligans. That's for sure. Yeah. Hey, what? It was just on here. What a spectacle! Yeah. The NFL draft in Pittsburgh. Oh wow! So there's 3 basketball games tonight, 3 hockey games. The NFL draft the ratings will outdo them all combined.
Yeah, I still cannot get my head around why. I mean, I understand for the players. I understand for their family members and all of their friends and partners and all of that. Their agents, those kind of things. I get it, and why the arena is full wherever they actually do it. So I understand that, but this wide appeal to fans. Now I know when you're gambling on it, you want to see if you're a guy, like if you're going to win your bet. I mean, anytime you're even putting $5, as better than anybody, you're putting $5 on a game. You're watching part or all of that game to see if you won your $20 or whatever. So I get that part too. But before gambling, the NFL draft was this hugely popular event, and it's really a tricky one for me to figure it out. I could not be more bored unless I had a horse in the race. I mean, if I have a guy that I know that's the last time I watched a bit of the draft, Barney, was when Johnny Manziel was up, and I think it was John Gruden in the draft show said over and over and over, well, it's got to be Johnny Manziel now. It's got to be Johnny Manziel now. I mean, this team's got to take Johnny Manziel. And he kept getting bumped down. And I found that a little bit interesting from a TV show perspective. But I don't get the popularity of it. I really don't.
Then the CFL draft is coming up, and then that's unique in its own way, of course. We like being unique up here.
Well, the CFL draft is, I know many people say, why doesn't TSN televise this CFL draft? Well, we do now, and we do the first couple of rounds. Dwayne Ford is a big part, my colleague is a big part of our draft coverage and does an excellent job. But it's such a unique draft. The Canadian college draft for the CFL, in the first 2 rounds, you usually see most of the players are O or D linemen. Now, that's going to sound like a slight to the O and D line, but it's just not as sexy a TV show when you're not drafting quarterbacks and big name receivers who've had great college careers. And, it's more and more now, like we're starting to draft the odd quarterback. We're starting to draft in the Canadian draft. We're certainly drafting receivers, Canadian receivers that are more pro ready every single year. So it's starting to change, and it has for the last 3, 4, 5 years. But very unique draft, and the timing of it is deliberate because the NFL draft going first is important for any Canadian that might be drafted in the NFL. If you're Saskatchewan and you're looking at your draft board, you got a guy in mind that might get drafted in the NFL and then does, that changes your strategy immediately. Do you take a guy now, first or second, third round of the Canadian draft, if he's been drafted in the NFL and you probably won't see him for 3 to 5 years? Because if you're drafted in the NFL, especially in the top 3 to 4 rounds, you're making the team. People have People have criticized my support of the Canadian ratio in the CFL a few times, more times than I can count, actually. But I do it for a couple of reasons. But you could almost argue that in the NFL there is a draft ratio. In other words, you go to training camp, there's a handful of walk-on players. Those players could very likely be better than the players that were drafted.
Yeah.
But there is no way they're making the team over a player that's been drafted by the organization. So
that's a good point.
That almost turns into a draft ratio. So you didn't actually take the best player there. You took the player you drafted. And the difference between them, don't get me wrong, the difference between them is razor thin. But
marginal, yeah.
But I've seen it many times that, changes in strategy.
We didn't talk about this on Tuesday because we had Paul Lapalisse on and we talked flag football, and that was awesome. And I can't wait to do it again. Just a great little round table and just the knowledge and what he's learned, and great. But I want to touch on the Plaza inductees this year from the Riders, and maybe go through them one by one. We got still 9 minutes here, starting with Rob Bagg.
Yeah, it's great timing for Rob because. First of all, he was part of that great Canadian receiving corps that was so good for Saskatchewan through those years. But we're coming up on Tuesday to the Canadian College Draft, and if you're listening right now and you're a player that feels like you might be drafted this Tuesday, and then don't get drafted, you can think about Rob Bagg. There's a guy who didn't get drafted and ended up finding a way to get in a training camp, worked his way through it, kept working out, kept believing in himself, and then went and got in a training camp and then became a guy who is now being inducted into the Plaza of Honor. And that's a great story. It first of all, first-class human being, great football player. All of these guys are. But that's what is unique to Rob to me is it gives all those young, aspiring pro football players that don't get drafted in either draft a chance to say, you know what, guys have done it before, why can't I? Keep working out, keep getting after it, try to get your foot in the door, get in a training camp somehow, somebody even, a coach that you might have known through college or whatever, make your calls, send your tapes out, get there, get in a camp. You never know. Once you make that team, that's when it really starts, and that's when you can really prove yourself.
And a guy that did the grind, and everything was against him to make it and to have the career he did. But Dan Clark, offensive lineman, Sasky guy, all of his games here. And again, I think he even said it on Monday. He's like, it wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, Dan Clark. I did a speaking engagement with Dan, and we were out talking at length. And Dan Clark, for me, was that generation's Roger Aldag.
Yep.
Local guy, tough as nails. Like, in fact, probably had nails for lunch occasionally. I mean, and a guy that clearly, and I think this was part of, I saw on some of the social media hits a little bit of that Dan Clark interview that you did, Barney, when you're talking to him. And I think he mentioned this, but here's a guy that knows what Rider pride is and knew it before he was a member of the team. And, grew up with it, understood the passion, understood whether it's a good situation or bad where you're being criticized, just how much the people of Saskatchewan care about their team. And care sometimes turns into, like when you're parenting your kid, it sometimes turns into, make sure you don't make those mistakes again. And some reprimanding. But it's because they care, because they love their team. Dan knew that well before he ever put on the pads for the Roughriders. And a guy with the Regina Thunder and grew up there. And he was that generation's Roger Aldag. He's got a Grey Cup ring from 13 and, very, very deserving bleed green kind of guy.
Absolutely. And then Paul McCallum, Just what a career, and what he had to put up with in Regina. He still kind of was joking about that, but just one of the all-time best kickers in CFL history.
Yeah, soccer background. A guy that actually played sort of semi-pro soccer, I believe, before getting into football.
Oh, really?
But 24 years in the Canadian Football League, 13 with the Riders, and so the majority of his time. And I think that's what's most amazing about Paul's story. And I know Paul was sort of taking over for Dave Ridgway. So we were crossing paths there right when I was close to retirement and he was just getting started in his journey. But when I look at how that went down, the miss that year, and then the fan response, and now his response all these later years to it, and just how he understood that people are so emotional at the time. I've been through it too. In 1989, I made a mistake, and there weren't many fans of mine in the province for about 2 weeks. Now that year ended up well, but so I understand that, and I feel the same way as Paul. It's a really cool story. I mean, I think it could be a Netflix story where he makes this disastrous miss on a chip shot, and the entire province is angry and emotional, and he understands it, doesn't let it define him, gets back on the horse and gets back into an all-star form, and goes ahead and wins games for teams that he's played on, including Saskatchewan. And then at the end of it all says, I loved my time in Saskatchewan. I couldn't have been more honored to be a member now of the Plaza of Honor. This is a guy who has processed all of that, made the comeback, and is not saying, hey, you guys were wrong and I showed you. He's saying, I understand your passion, and thank goodness we have that passion. And I've said many times, Rider fans have saved this league so many times because of that passion. And sometimes they get angry, like you do at your kids. But you look back.
Yeah. Okay, and let's end it with this. Got about 3 minutes left. Here's a clip first up before we go to it.
I think you and I both know that we spent the last couple months trying to convince you not to come and sit up here. And I think we got a couple more minutes for you to change your mind before we do this. But in all honesty, Jorgen, congratulations on a great career. You epitomize what the Saskatchewan Roughriders are all about. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. What a day today. I think a lot of people knew it was coming, but just your thoughts on the retirement of Jorgen Hughes.
Yeah, Jorgen is, one of those specialists that does not get the credit that they should. Like when you're talking about the precision of snapping on punts or field goals or both, they have it down to an art. And yes, they make it look easy. A guy who I honestly can't remember through his entire career and all the games that I've covered of the Riders, Jorgen making a mistake. The level of consistent, high level of performance from him has been really unprecedented in a specialty position, that snapper, long snapper. And, I worked with Bob Poley, quick story here, and Bob Poley, as a holder with Bob as a center, I've said this story before and fans will know it, but he could change we were 7 yards apart. That's the difference between the tee and the center. And he could change the position of the ball when he's holding it and make sure that the laces were at 12 o'clock so that I wouldn't have to turn the ball on the tee. So I could catch it and put it down for Ridgway. Wow. He could just kick it through. We didn't have to turn it. And he could make it in 2 snaps. He could make the adjustments and understand the velocity, the distance, and the spin on the ball that the lace would end up where it ended up. And he'd do it over and over and over every single time. That's what guys like Jorgen can do. That's their specialty looks easy, and it's not. And they only get talked about when they make a mistake. And by the way, Jorgen was he was one of our award winners for the military award in the CFL. Yeah. So congratulations on a great career for him.
Cool stories. Yeah, what a skill for sure. All right, Suits, we're up against it for today. So I don't know if you're watching some hockey tonight, but have a good weekend. And then when we get together next Tuesday, let's see what the weather is like here.
Yeah. I might be. Well, I'll be, I think, to Saskatoon, but we will draft time so we can break that down. Roughriders might want to go after.
Okay, let's chat next week. Have a good one. Have a good weekend.
Okay. Thanks, Barney.
There's press coverage of Glen Suitor for Freeze Tallman Lumber, more than a lumber yard. Regina and Fort Capel, doors, decking, whatever it is, they got it. You don't have to go to the big box stores. And then if you need someone to do it, they can hook you up there as well. Freeze Tallman Lumber in Regina and Fort Capel. We'll go to break. We'll come back. It's a Sports Cage streaming on our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Well, if you missed it, the Regina Pat Canadians have their first loss of the national championship to Quebec today in overtime, 6-5. They'll regroup tomorrow, take on Okanagan at 9 a.m. We'll have the updates here. League final continues in the SJHL tonight in Yorkton. Bombers trying to win their first championship since 1993. 7 o'clock puck drop in Yorkton. National Hockey League, currently zeros. Boston and Buffalo. 8 minutes left in the first period of play. Carolina and Ottawa starting in about 3 minutes time, and then the late one tonight, Avalanche Kings, with Colorado leading that series 2-0. SportsCage.com poll today: how closely are you following the Regina Pat Canadians right now? You can vote at SportsCage.com. The ticker was for Regina Steelcraft Doors. Garage doors made in Western Canada for Western Canadians. Regina Steelcraft Doors. If you missed it, hour one, Tommy Stevens was in studio. Does he have a couple of great stories? One from this winter in Saskatchewan while out touring with the foundation. A lot of fun. We're going to play that when we come back after the break. It is the Sports Cage on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.